Muted. Muted.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Lori Nectel here with Constant Contact. It is 12 noon according to my clock, so I do want to honor your time and get started on time. We're looking at spending the next hour together to talk about simple ways that you can grow your list. In this case, amazingly simple ways you can grow your list. So hope you get a few nuggets here. Without further ado, I do want to get started. So we'll do a little poll here to get us started and wake everybody up. Just let me deploy the poll here, and we'll do a few of these throughout the course of the hour. I do want to let you know as you're taking a look at that poll, the webinar to answer any questions that you might have. So as we're going along today, as you have questions, please use that question area to enter any questions you have. Them, and then I will address those. I am a one-woman show here, so I don't want to interrupt the webinar to answer questions, but towards the end, once we're wrapping up, I'll take a look at all the questions and answer them to quality. And certainly you're welcome to engage with me afterwards online through one of the social media channels I'm on if you have additional questions. So taking a look at the poll here, it looks like a lot of people are just always looking for additional ways to build their list. But we've got a bit of everything. Some people start email marketing. Stay tuned at the end. There is an offer through Constant Contact if you haven't yet signed up for Constant Contact. But I also have a freebie that I'll be sharing with you after the webinar is over called 50 Ways to Grow Your List. So we're going to be touching on a few of those today, and then I'll send you the complete document so you can take a look at the list and decide for yourself how you want to grow your list, either to start to grow your list or just to improve your current efforts. I think we're good. We've got the good number of answers in the poll here. So the majority are just looking for new and additional ways to grow your list. So regardless of what your situation is, though, I'm glad you're with us. We will be talking about CASL today and about CAN-SPAM, CASL being Canada's anti-spam legislation. CAN-SPAM is American or U.S. anti-spam legislation, because the way that you grow your list either is going to make you compliant or not. And having healthy list growth not only increases your engagement, but doing so the right way ensures that you stay compliant in the eyes of the governing bodies of these of anti-spam legislation. So thanks for participating in that poll. I'm going to close that now so we can get started. So just a quick bit about myself, Lori Nectel, Emotivate Marketing and Design, Strategic. I'm a speaker. I do a lot of speaking around North America, and I'm a strategic marketing advisor as well. I'm a partner with Constant Contact. I'm not employed by them. I've been using their product now for over 12 years, and I can't say enough about it from a marketing perspective, from somebody who talks about marketing and teaches marketing, to have one tool that allows you to do so much of your marketing and is user-friendly, cost-effective, all that good stuff. I really love Constant Contact. I've tried other programs for email marketing, but I've continued to use Constant Contact. Their support is second to none. So if you have any questions about Constant Contact, if you're not familiar with them yet, feel free to ask me. I'm happy to share any information you're after or point you to the right resource. So let's get started. The thing that makes Constant Contact so great is that they want you to be a marketer. Today's marketing is hands-on, which is good and bad news for people, I guess. Good news because it's a lot more cost-effective than traditional marketing channels. So newspaper advertising, radio, television, billboards, any print, etc. All of that can be prohibitively expensive, especially if you're a small business person. So we want to make those tools as accessible as possible from a time perspective, from a usability perspective, and from a cost perspective. So that's Constant Contact's aim, and that's why I like the product so much. So I'll get off my soapbox now. So a little bit about marketing then and now, as I was talking about traditional channels. Marketing's changed. The marketing funnel used to look like this. It was big at the top. We spent a disproportionately huge amount of time on finding clients. So we cast a net, an expensive net as wide as we could to see how many people we could attract. Then we would spend less time, effort, and money on converting them, less on keeping them. But the nice thing is that with today's marketing, the funnel has flipped. So we don't have to spend as much time, energy, and money on finding people, especially with email marketing and social media. People find us, so by the time they come to us, whether they come to an event, so um, we can focus our time on converting people, and we can really focus on keeping. So not just repeat business, which is fantastic, but also referral business, which is also fantastic. So you're growing. You are seeing new customers come in the door, but those customers are being referred to by your existing client base or your existing audience. So I want to just chat just very briefly about how we create that optimal online presence right now. So our website has always been at the center of our online presence, and really it continues to be. But with the advent of social media and email marketing, people don't just find us through search. So to start with, they found us through what's called inbound marketing. They would search for either our business name or our industry and maybe the town or city, and hopefully they would find us. So we would stuff our website with meta tags and keywords and all of the right stuff to make sure that we got found on Google, basically. But like I said, now we have both social media marketing and email marketing, and they all come together to create a comprehensive online presence for business. So social media provides two-way engagement for us. A lot of people go follow brands online. Some of them are looking for discounts or information about the brand, but also one of the key reasons statistically these days that people follow brands on social media is to have access to them. So if they have a customer service issue, if they have a product complaint, if they want to know more about an event that's coming up, they have access to you through social media. And as an example, the telecom provider that we use is, for those of you in Canada, it's Rogers. And when I have a customer service issue, I don't go online to their website. I don't send them an email. I don't call them. I go to Twitter and I direct message them, and I get a response within 2 minutes. And I don't see that kind of response through any of those other channels that I mentioned. So keep that in mind, that people aren't just using social media for you to market to them. They're there because they want to connect with the brand. They want to learn from you. They want value from you, and they also want instant access to you if they so need. And email marketing kind of rounds out this online presence with providing outbound marketing. So people give you express permission to market to them directly. And the difference between social media and email is that you own that list with outbound marketing, and that's why we're going to focus on the list today. With social media, as we all know, especially with Facebook, the algorithms are constantly changed, which is, any platform, they have rules around what posts get seen by whom and when. And Facebook is notorious for updating their algorithms, so you never know whose stream you're going to show up in and when. And statistically, only about 2% of people who follow you at any given time are going to see a post of yours. Whereas with email, that deliverability is like 98% or higher, as long as you've got up to date um, um, email addresses and all of that good stuff, but you're getting delivered directly to people's inboxes. So that's fantastic news. Now, like I said, all of these things need to be integrated. So I'm just going to fill the screen with a few ideas, and please know that I will be sharing this slide deck with you later. So don't feel like you need to take notes feverishly just to write all this stuff down, but there's some ideas here about how all of these can be integrated. So how you can integrate your search with your outbound, with your email marketing with social, and social with search. So you want to make sure that all of those are working together to create that optimal online presence, and also so that all of those are helping you drive traffic to your website and build is where it's true as ever. So very briefly, contact is a person's email address or a person's contact information, essentially, including their email address. Your email list, obviously, is a collection of contacts that have something in common. So you might have multiple email lists, which in Constant Contact, you're able to make multiple lists, and you can choose which list you're sending any one campaign to. And what's a campaign? It's your email marketing message or promotion, but it's more than that too. It's the whole strategy behind it, and it's also the analytics, the metrics that you can use to follow up afterwards to see who's opening your email, when they're opening, all that good stuff that helps you improve future campaigns. So just want to do another poll here, just very quickly. How long have you been using email marketing? And I usually do an audio test at the beginning of this webinar, at the beginning of my webinars, and I didn't do one today. So in the question area, if you can just say yes to ensure that you hear me, I'd really appreciate it. Perfect. As a webinar leader, when you're doing it yourself, you're really speaking to dead air. So, I could open it up, but then we got a lot of background noise. So I just want to make sure that everybody's hearing me. So thanks everybody for doing that. Thank you so much, Liz. All right, let's take a look at this poll here. So a lot of you, 83%, have been email marketing for over a year, but we've also got a few more who are newer to the game, and a few even that haven't started yet. So fantastic. Welcome to all of you again, and I hope you all get some good information here. I find that we do these webinars, and I have a lot of great questions asked, and there's a lot of engagement, and I also do live seminars and the same thing. And then people go home and they don't do anything with the information, and I see them repeatedly at seminars. And my hope for you today is that you get the information you need to start doing what you need to do to grow your business and make more money. So again, we're going to keep plugging away here, and I'm going to close out that poll now. Thanks so much, everybody, for your answers. Well, a few statistics here about the efficiency and the effectiveness of email marketing. For many of you, you've been doing email marketing for over a year, so I'm sure you're seeing some of this yourself. 91% of people check their email daily. So if you think about, and I'm guilty of this too, when you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you do? I reach for my phone, turn and check my email. Before I check social media, and usually I don't check social media first thing in the morning. I'll do that a little later on once I get the kids off to school and get my day started. So, and a little side note there, even with social media platforms, say for Twitter, for example, when somebody mentions you on Twitter, or when you get a new follower on Twitter, as an example, how does Twitter let you know that that's happening? you an email. Even even social media platforms recognize that email is the most um, reliable channel to communicate with its users on. So that says something about the effectiveness of email. 82% sign up for email on brand websites. So if you don't have an email sign up call to action either at the top or as a pop up, and I know those pop ups are annoying, but they're super super effective. If you don't have that yet, make sure that you put that on the top of your list for something to do. If you need help with how to get your link from Constant Contact and website, I am a website designer, so I can give you the step-by-step even if you need it. So we can chat about that afterwards. Definitely, please just let me know what information you need there. So 72% sign up expecting a discount. So what this says to me is that, and yes, there are a lot of retail, uh, business discounts, but with products or services that they can offer a discount on. Mine is a perfect example. I'm all about intellectual property, and I'm a marketing business, so I don't have stuff that I can discount. But what that says to me is that you want to make sure that when you're adding a call to action, either online or offline, anywhere for people to sign up to your list, you're setting those expectations properly around what they're going to get when they sign up for your list. So is it valuable information they can apply to their business, which is the case with my eTips newsletter? Great. Is it VIP access, be the first to know about upcoming events? Is it a discount? So you just want to be very clear what you're offering with your newsletter. This is a significant statistic. The current ROI on email is $44.25 for every dollar spent. So that is by far the highest ROI of any marketing channel. That is why it's important to grow your list in a way that is clean and compliant with anti-spam laws, but you want to be adding people to that list so more people find out about your business and what you offer. And finally, email marketing has a 3 times higher social conversion rate, than social media. So again, that speaks to ROI. That speaks to how many people are seeing your emails versus social media. So that's not saying not to use social media. Again, I want that integrated approach, but email marketing certainly offers a lot of bang for the buck. So here we're going to talk about growing your list. First of all, we're going to start where you're at. Then we're going to make what we currently have work for us. Do you have a website? Do you print business cards or other printed collateral that you could put a call to action on? What are the channels you can leverage right now to grow your list, to either start growing your list or to grow your list even better and faster than you're currently doing it? So then we're going to take a look for you, collect more from everywhere you are, and more importantly, I think, everywhere your customers are. Know where your customers are. That is important for marketing in general, but especially in placing that call to action to sign up for your email newsletter. Once you've got the email address, now what? What do you do with it? What kind of information are you sending them? So we're going to talk briefly about that as well, and then we'll finish up with a few next steps for you. So let's get started. Growing your list sounds complicated to some people, but it doesn't have to be. There's a few key things you want to keep in mind when you're setting out to grow your list. That it takes time, so we need to be patient. I know that's like a 4-letter word for a lot of us. I know it is for me, but you want to be patient. You want to understand that with each new addition, you're improving your list. And don't worry if you have some drop-off. That just means that the information you're sending is no longer relevant to those people. So you don't want people on your list that aren't interested in your content. You want engaged people. It's an ongoing process. So by joining this webinar today, for example, if you're already growing your list, you're just going to be adding to those measures, adding additional channels that you can use to supercharge your list growth. They're organized. So you want to make sure that you're aware of every channel that you're using to grow your list, and that you're taking a look from time to time at which channels are the most effective. Because if you're putting any time and effort into those various channels, you want to know which ones are converting, which ones are getting you those subscribers more so than the others. And then the other ones you can either drop or tweak or sub in for a different uh, channel. And again, I'll be sending you that document, 50 Ways to Grow Your List, at the end of this webinar. So there'll be tons of ideas in there for you for any type of business. And I don't expect any one person can use all of those ideas, but there's certainly some great little nuggets in there for each of you. And finally, keep in mind that typically a combination of traditional and modern methods or contemporary methods are most successful. So you want to integrate growing measures both online and offline. And there's that 50 Ways to Grow Your List, just the cover of the document that I'm going to be sending you. So keep an eye out for that in a follow-up email afterwards. So as I mentioned before, you want to start where you are. We don't want to make this complicated. Think about where you're at right now. Think about the channels that you're currently using to market your business. Think about the channels that your customers use to interact with you. Maybe they're coming into your store. Maybe they're visiting you on your website or your blog a lot. Maybe you have an online store. Maybe you do a lot of events. So whatever those channels are, you want to start there. Think about your customers. From there, of course, the next logical step is ask people to subscribe to your mailing list. And again, there's so many different tools that you can use to do it. And it doesn't have to be complicated, excuse me. So you can also offer incentives to join your mailing list. This is a very common tool that a lot of businesses use. Now, incentives are perfectly compliant with CASEL, and a lot of, like, you might go to a restaurant and drop your business card in, and they do a monthly draw for a free lunch, for example, or at stores you drop your card in or sign a list, and they have the monthly draw is very common. There might be a fishbowl or whatever to drop your card in. Maybe it's an online thing. Maybe it's an event where anybody at the event who subscribes is eligible for the door prize that you have at the event. Whatever the case is, there's lots of different incentives. And don't just think about product. For those businesses like mine who are service-based, there's services that you can offer. Or I like to, when I'm doing an event, support the businesses in my city. I live in Stratford, Ontario, and there's fantastic little stores, independent stores downtown. So I'll get some chocolates or some local flowers or what have you, and I'll give that away. So not only do I have a giveaway and I'm incenting people to join my list, but I'm also supporting a local business and helping to promote those too, which brings along with it its own share of goodwill, which is a fantastic initiative as well. So never discount the opportunity to offer an incentive to grow your list. And then you want to make sure that you're locating and collecting your contacts. So especially if you're using multiple channels, you want to automate that process as much as possible for your online efforts. But for offline efforts, if you have a sign-up form at an event or at your front desk or what have you, if people are dropping business cards in, if you're meeting people at a networking event and they're saying, yes, please add me to your list, whatever the case is, you want to make sure that you capture all of those and that you, on a regular basis, that you're uploading those to your mailing list so that people are getting the value from them and you're keeping yourself top of mind with them. So from there, organize those contacts. So that sounds fairly straight. As I mentioned before, you have the opportunity to add people to multiple lists. So, you might organize them according to when they made their purchase. So maybe new customers versus existing customers versus VIPs who shop with you all the time versus seasonal shoppers who come to you once a year at Christmas, and you want to kind of isolate those people. Whatever the case is, maybe it's the type of product or service that they purchased from you. For me, I have, website customers versus email customers versus people who have attended my seminar. So keep that in mind. There's all different kinds of lists that you can use to organize your contacts, and you can add people to multiple lists as well. So important in order to really get the most out of your email marketing efforts. Before you start growing your list, just to summarize a few things that you want to do. So organize your database, like I said, into lists. Target by customer interest, as I said, frequency of purchase, time of purchase, season, et cetera, really important. Create a sign-up form. So online sign-up form, Constant Contact allows you to create more than one form so that you can link to various forms depending on where people are coming to you from. So maybe if they're coming to you from Facebook, or if they're coming to you, for example, from a webinar like this and I provide a link, maybe I want you to be entered into a list. So I add you to a specific sign-up form. But you want to create those forms before you start adding people so that you automate the process as much as possible. Of course, offline as well, if you have a desk, don't forego the opportunity to collect email addresses and contact information. Just make sure there's a sign that accompanies that, or your staff are asking people to join your list and that they know they're joining the list. Create an embeddable sign-up form for your website or blog. Super critical, especially given that stat that I showed you, over 80% of people sign up from a website. So you want to make sure you do that. Add a JMML, as join my mailing list, link to your email signature. This is one of the easiest, most passive ways you can promote your mailing list. And I don't get every single person that I email clicking on that link, but think about how many emails you send in a day. Think about how many opportunities that is to, one, promote the fact that you have a mailing list, and two, get people to sign up from it. So, sometimes it takes people a number of times, and again, there's lots of stats that bear this out, but it takes a few times for people to see something before they actually feel compelled to act on that call to action. But if you have it in your email signature line, very easy to add regardless of what email client you're using, Outlook, Gmail, what have you. Add it there, link it to your list automatically. It's automated, it's hands-off for you, and it's passive advertising of your list. So great, very simple idea to promote your list. Set up a QR code and add it to your printed materials. If you're not familiar with the QR code, I should put a sample in this slide, but it's just those square little codes that they have little squares and they have a little design in them, and people can scan them with their smartphone. And it takes them, in this case, it would take them right to your mailing list, so they add their email address, first name, and off to the races. Super effective. QR code scanners are a lot more effective than they used to be. I remember when I had a BlackBerry 10 years ago or whatever it was, the software was awful, and so I just took the app off my phone. But my current iPhone, I downloaded a QR code scanner, and I test it constantly, and part of that is the marketer in me. But QR codes, it's super efficient. It scans the code so quickly and takes you right to the list, and I'm always testing them. People put them on labels, so I see them on the back of wine bottles or beer bottles, not that I drink a lot, on the back of any packaging. I see them on tent cards. I see them on menus in restaurants, on the A-frame sandwich boards that businesses, if you have a bricks and mortar business that you set out front, you can put it on back of your business card. If you do networking or if you do a lot of events, you want a QR code on the back of your business card that people can turn over. And I mean, you should be using the back of your business card anyway, but put a QR code on there so people can quickly scan it and add themselves to your mailing list. Fantastic way to increase your, boost your list growth. Set up a Facebook Join app. So Constant Contact offers the ability, it offers an app that it'll connect directly to your Facebook, and you can go in there and add a subscribe link so people can, from your Facebook page, if that's where they're connecting with you, can join your mailing list straight from there. And finally, download an app to capture contacts on the go, whether it's the app, whether it's a third-party app that integrates with your email platform, whether you're using MailChimp, Constant Contact, any of the, Aweber, whatever. Find an app that allows you to capture contacts on the go. If you're at a networking event, if you're out having dinner, if you meet somebody on the street, whatever the case is, you want to be able to capture those contacts right away. As soon as they say yes list, you want to be able to do it right then and there so that they don't forget about when and where they gave you permission to add them to the list. So there is one app that I use called iContact, which is fantastic. I use it at trade shows, and I'll put it on my iPad, and people can add themselves in this app, iContact. It doesn't even need Wi-Fi, and what it does is it stores all of the data offline, and as soon as I hit a Wi-Fi hotspot, it's connected to my Constant Contact account, and it automatically uploads all of the contacts to my account without me having to touch a thing. So there's wonderful apps. There's an app for everything. I know we all know that by this point, but check that out. That one's iContact. Before, train your staff to ask. If you have a location, if you have multiple staff who are either on the phone, whoever your customer-facing staff are, either in person, on the phone, via email, make sure that they're all consistently trained to ask people to join your mailing list with the reason why, with the compelling reason why, and mentioning any incentive that you might offer. So point of sale over the phone, sign up link in all of your employee email signatures, so whichever business-related email addresses you have, add them there. And then if you want, offer staff the app to gather contacts on the go as well. And sometimes I've heard of small businesses who have staff offering an incentive for a month to see who can sign the most people up. Of course, you want to make sure that they're all trained how to do that properly so that it's compliant with CASL. But that creates a little competitive and fun atmosphere for everybody. Print advertising is not dead. It just leads to the internet. So this is what I was talking about, and here's the QR code example. So I do have an example to show you. Forgot about this slide. So you'll see here there's a tag hanging from clothing, and they've got a QR code on that. There's so many different opportunities. Think about the printed collateral that you use, maybe even on the bottom of your receipt, and add the QR code there. Constant Contact makes it easy they create the QR code for you, and then you just download the JPEG and you either add it to whatever your printed collateral is, or send it to your designer who's designing your stuff for you, and they'll add it for you. Paper and pen still appeals to many. So again, if you're at an event and you're checking people in and all you have is a pen and paper, fantastic. Just remember to ask people to print clearly so that it's easy to transcribe and add those to the list afterwards. Or maybe you can try some OCR technology to see if you can scan the list and it will add itself to your database for you. So make what you have work for you. Segmentation and targeting. So this is what I was talking about when I was saying about adding people to multiple lists. One of the key reasons that people unsubscribe from your list, and I do believe this is coming in a future slide, but I'll mention it now. One of the key reasons that people unsubscribe is that they're getting irrelevant content sent to them from you. So maybe they subscribe to you only to learn about your upcoming events, but you're sending them discount information, product information, business updates, what have you. You want to make sure that people have the ability to choose which list they want to be on, which is very easy when you're using an email marketing platform, and then you want to send them information accordingly. That gives you the best chance of retaining your readership long term. So some examples here about how you can segment them, and I talked about this before. So new versus VIPs, those people not only shop with you or use your services regularly, but they refer people to you, they attend your events, whatever the case is. They engage with you on social media. Those are your VIPs, and you want to treat them as such, to retain them. You want to, maybe isolate your new customers from your seasonal or your regular customers as well. And maybe you set, a 6-month timeline where after 6 months they get added to your regular customers or your seasonal customers list and they get taken off the new customers list. And this is just a specific example with, maybe a vet clinic or something like that, with dog owners versus cat owners versus bird owners. Just an example, a further example of how you can segment your list. So when you're ready to begin, like I said, here's an example of a mailing list sign-up form that was created in Constant Contact. So ask them. The less information you ask for from them, the better chance you're going to get them following through and signing up. I like to ask for, of course, you need to enter the email address, but beyond that, first name. You could ask for last name, but you don't have to make that required. First name allows you to personalize your greetings when you're sending emails out, which I think is very important. And again, statistics show that it's effective when people receive personalized emails. So you want to get that first name from them, possibly the last name. Beyond that, any other information you ask for, I would make it optional, so that people, because the more information you ask for from or the more chance you're going to have out of the subscription process. And then make sure, like I said, you're offering multiple lists that people can check off, only the ones they want to be added to. Very important. And here's that stat. Number one reason people unsubscribe is irrelevant content. So you want to keep that content relevant by ensuring that you allow people to sign up only for the information that they want from you. And don't buy lists. List buying is a very old strategy and not a very effective strategy these days. People are still doing it. It's expensive and it's not targeted, and you're hitting people that are not interested in hearing from you, so you're not compliant with Canada's anti-spam legislation or CAN-SPAM either. So, and for more information, you can go to those links to find out more about CASL or CAN-SPAM. I am going to be sending you in my follow-up emails some additional links to information about CASL and CAN-SPAM. But the key to both of those legislations is permission. You want to ensure that you have express permission from people, and those from whom you don't have express permission yet, it's called implied permission. If you have their email address and you're sending them information, you want to make sure that by this time next year, July 1st of 2017, you have express permission from everybody on your list, because on July 1st of 2017, a new portion of, at least in Canada, the Canada's anti-spam legislation, a new portion of it kicks in called the private right of action, and that's when the real no-nonsense part of enforcement of the legislation kicks in. The CRTC is the governing body, and there have already been some pretty substantial fines laid for people for businesses, corporations that are not compliant with CASL legislation. So this is what it looks like when people sign up. You see each person has been able to choose which mailing list they want to subscribe to. So they're going to receive the relevant content that they've chosen. So now, how to expand your growth methods. Network wherever you are, whenever you're there. Use apps wherever you can, and so I've given you some examples of how you can do that. Give and get cards when you're at a networking event. I get a question often around compliance with anti-spam legislation, because you need to be able to prove that people gave permission to sign up. It's easy to do online because there's an electronic trail where they sign themselves up through your mailing list on Constant Contact or whatever marketing platform you're using. But offline, sometimes they give you verbal permission. So how do you track that? So if you're getting a card from somebody and they're saying, yes, please add me to your mailing list, what I do is I return from that or use a Wi-Fi connection wherever I am, and I add them as soon as possible, and then I send them a follow-up email saying, hey, great seeing you today. By the way, I've added you to my mailing list as discussed, so you'll start to see emails coming through from me shortly. Hope you enjoy. You can unsubscribe at any time by using the unsubscribe link, blah, blah, blah. So that's the way that you create some sort of, you take that connection online and have a bit of an electronic trail that shows that that person did indeed request to sign up to your email newsletter. And there's apps for a lot of this stuff. So one of the apps that I use, I'll show you in a little bit, for when you get a card, because I'm not a paper person. Clutter drives me crazy. So whenever I can digitize business cards or any papers that I get, I'm all for it. Upload immediately into your database. So I talked about that, having an app for on the go, or that eye contact app where you can set it out if you're at a trade show and allow people to sign themselves up. You could even set it out, on your front counter instead of a sign-up form, so people can use your tablet to sign themselves up, or just have the QR code where people scan it and sign themselves up. Add new contacts to an automation series. This really helps you be hands-off with the first few emails that people are going to get from you, but it ensures that all of your new subscribers are getting a consistent message, a consistent flow of information from you to reinforce the value of being on your mailing list, so they don't forget about why and when they subscribed. Attend meetup groups for networking. If you're part of SCORE in the United States, or change, make sure that your emails there, make sure that people know that you have a mailing list, and only add them if they're interested. And again, like I said, leverage any participation in local events that that you might be doing. And you can clarify with people the different ways that they can join your mailing list online. And here's a few different examples of online methods. So on your Facebook business page, like I said, Constant Contact has an app that integrates with Facebook very easily. From Constant Contact, you can click on it and it takes you over to Facebook to finish the setup, and voila, you're done. And I'll show you an example of the banner that I use that goes with that to direct people to the link. On Twitter. So across all your different social media platforms, make sure that you have a link in your bio that mentions join my mailing list at link in order to sign up for my mailing list. Be consistent with that across all the different platforms that you use. So Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. If you're using a photo or project sharing site like a Basecamp, what have you, anywhere online where you have a listing, a bio, Yellow Pages, Yelp, TripAdvisor, etc. If you have a profile on there, make sure, Foursquare, make sure that your bio there or your business information there includes a link to sign up. Or if you're using Periscope for live streaming, in your Pinterest bio again, and definitely from your website and or blog, make sure that you've got it there. In addition to your bio area, make sure that you're mentioning now and again that you have a mailing list and that you're sharing your email campaigns on your various social media channels. Constant Contact has offers the option for you. It's called Simple Share, and it offers the option to automate that posting for you to LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, so that you can send your email out and basically set it and forget it. So you can set up what messages you want to appear on each of those channels, and as soon as your email campaign goes out, that email campaign will also be published to LinkedIn, to Twitter, and to Facebook with the messages that you've configured. So handy tool for helping to grow your list as well. In fact, I had a customer who really had a lot to say, home inspection business, had a lot to say, but didn't have anybody on his list and wasn't sure how to get started. So we got him started with his first campaign, and his mailing list consisted of one person, and that was himself. So he sent that mailing list, that campaign to himself, but he also scheduled it to post automatically to LinkedIn, to Twitter, and to Facebook. And today he has grown his list to over 600 people just by starting using that Simple Share tool on Constant Contact, because then people saw he was sending an email campaign out. They didn't know how many people had received that email campaign. They probably assumed tens, if not hundreds at least. And so they read it, liked it, and joined. And like I said, today he's over 600 subscribers, which is fantastic. So ask for people to join your list. Again, these are just some of the examples of places where you can ask online for people to join your list. So just an example of how it flows. When you've got a call to action on your website for people to sign up, this is actually a screenshot of my website. I've actually just redesigned it so it doesn't look like this anymore. But up in the top here you see a call to action to subscribe to my e-tips. From there, when someone clicks on it, it takes them over to my mailing list. Sign up, very simple, email address, first name, last name, choose the list that you want to receive specifically, and then a welcome email gets generated and gets sent out to them. So that easy, and you know, if you're using a marketing platform, Constant Contact or otherwise, it makes it super easy for you to set all of this up and have it look very professional, and make sure that they get that first welcome email right away, so that you're confirming with them, yes, we received your subscription, welcoming them, etc., and letting them know when they can expect your first email. In the meantime, you're maybe load or to your for product at your store, what have you. So again, reinforcing some of the ideas. There's that sandwich board, or the board that you can use outside of your business that some people use. So subscribe for subscribe for $10 off. The fishbowl is always a great option for people if you're at a networking event or if they're in your store to collect business cards. Not sure what to offer as incentives, and I did talk about this a little bit, but a percentage off, a special offer code, again, in the case that you're service-based, ebook, white paper, or guide, delivering distinctive value to people, even though you know the internet is our oyster and all of us have access to as much information as we want. We just don't have the time to seek it all out. So if you have valuable information, either that you curate on a regular basis, that you collect on a regular basis, that's relevant to your business and relevant to your clients, and or you know, information that you have exclusive access to that you can share with your clients, that's very valuable for your clients. So keep that information and drip it to them through your email campaigns, and maybe use one of those pieces of content as your incentive to get people to sign up. Maybe it's an on-site service or a link to an exclusive video, maybe a one-on-one consult, what have you. So you've got the email address, now what? 79% of consumers, as I mentioned before, so they like or follow brands for information about the company. 89% turn to search engines to research products or services before purchasing. So you want to make sure that wherever people are finding you, that they know that you have a newsletter where they can find out more about what you offer, the services that they might be interested in, the products that they might be interested in, upcoming events, what have you. You want to make sure that when they do a search, regardless of what comes up on that first page of Google results, that everywhere they go to find you, they're going to know that you have a mailing list that they can sign up for. Various types of campaigns, lots of different ideas for sending out campaigns. I really like the idea, and again, you'll be getting this slideshow, so I'm not going to take too long on that slide, but 3 fundamental considerations when you're putting together emails. One is making sure that your emails are CASL or CAN spam compliant, making sure that they offer the ability to easily unsubscribe. According to law, you need to, anybody who requests to be unsubscribed, either automated or not, or via just straight through email, that unsubscribe needs to be processed within 10 business days or 2 weeks of receiving the request for the unsubscribe. You also want to put a permission reminder in there saying you're receiving this email because you signed up for our email or because you attended the event and said, or whatever the case is, but that's the permission reminder as well. There's lots of little facets of email campaign sent through Constant Contact that automatically allow you to comply with anti-spam legislation, so that you're not having to check all those little boxes each time yourself. You also want to make sure you're fully integrated with social media. So there's a social bar that you can use, a social share bar at the top of each email campaign. Be sure you're using that when you're not sending an exclusive or a private email, so that people can share your email with their networks. That differs from the second method of social integration, which is at the bottom of the email or somewhere in your email, you'll have links to your social media channels so people can engage with you there. The third method is what I was talking about before, which is the simple share tool that allows you to easily automate the publishing email marketing campaigns to LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, or Facebook, I should say, whichever you prefer. Of course, if you're using other channels, Pinterest, Instagram, what have you, YouTube, you can also grab a link to that campaign and publish it on those platforms as well. Thirdly, and equally as important, if not more so, is mobile responsiveness. For the first time last year in 2015, mobile consumption of content transcended or surpassed that of desktop consumption of content. Campaigns that you send out look good on a mobile device. All of the campaign templates that Constant Contact currently offers are either mobile friendly and or mobile responsive. Friendly means they look good on a mobile device. They're single column, they have a certain size text, etc. Mobile responsive means that they change, the layout changes, the layout of the email changes depending on what size screen they're being viewed on. So desktop looks one way, and then if they're looking on it from a smartphone, for example, the content is going to be stacked more so, and they're going to get rid of extraneous content that doesn't matter, could be background image or whatever, in order to ensure that it's legible and that people are able to scan it quickly. So fundamental considerations for putting together your emails. Some simple content ideas. As I mentioned before, I really like, you know, thinking about your business from a seasonal perspective. So, what are your customers doing right now that's relevant to your business or relates to your business? What information can you offer them at this time of year that's relevant to, you know, any holidays coming up, or maybe the kids, being out of school, vacation time, what have you? And in fact, I put together a list of different ideas for, this one was specific to financial advisors, but you know, you think about Halloween or Valentine's Day or Christmas, what have you, there's always a little piece of content that you can offer that's seasonally appropriate. But here's a few more ideas for you as well, for simple content ideas, where you can get content from and what you can talk about. And keep it short. The one thing that I like, and this has to do with the seasonal discussion, is checking the calendar. There's always different dates coming up. And one of the tools that I really like is called nationaldaycalendar.com. So I'll go there on any given day, and you know, if I'm doing a presentation or if I'm sending an email out and I want some fun, interesting content, I'll go to nationaldaycalendar.com and find out what national days we're celebrating currently. So today, for example, on National Day calendar is Go Skateboarding Day, it's National Peaches and Cream Day, and it's National Daylight Appreciation Day, because we're in the first or second day of summer now. So I'm assuming they're thinking that it's the first day of summer. So anyway, great site, fun stuff. You can even just take this stuff and post it as content on your social media channels now and again, just to be fun and engaging, for another piece of content. Fun stuff. So next steps for you. We're winding down now, but what you want to do, make sure that everything's in its place. Make sure you know where all of your existing contacts are and that you have permission from them, and with those have permission, make sure that you get them uploaded into your database. Create segmented lists to make sure that people are only on the lists um, where they're going to be receiving information relevant to them. Make sure that you put collection methods in place, and please do use this 50 Ways to Grow Your List document that I'm going to be sending out to help grow your list more quickly and get inspiration for other ways, creative ways that you can be doing it. Create and schedule your welcome emails to make sure that every time somebody signs up for your list, that they receive that welcome email right away to acknowledge acknowledge that they've subscribed, and two, make sure content from you right away. And then create a schedule. So you're going to be sending emails to them on a somewhat regular basis because you don't want them forgetting about you. And if you're sending emails that are too infrequent, that tends to happen. So for anybody who's new to Constant Contact, there is an offer right now that Constant Contact is offering for new clients. And if you're already a Constant Contact customer, contact me and I can help you with a complimentary account review that goes over those three critical areas that we talked about. One, making sure that you're compliant with anti-spam legislation. Two, making sure that you're fully integrated with social media. And three, making sure that your campaigns that you're sending out are mobile responsive, which is critical. The additional pieces that I can do an account review and make sure that you're taking advantage of any available to you. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to me. I will be sending a follow-up email after that. Feel free to respond to the email and inquire about the account review, and we can take it from there if you like. If you're new to Constant Contact, like I said, there's this custom design email template, which means that your email will look like the rest of your marketing collateral right out of the gate, which saves you a ton of time and allows you to send professional-looking emails to your contacts. I can help you with the contact list upload and configuration and send you some getting started guide, access to video tutorials, and an invitation to a live how-to webinar that's a guided demonstration that walks you through the whole process of putting together an email. And also right now, Constant Contact has an offer on the table of 30% off for the first 3 months. So pricing, as you see up in the right corner, starts at $20 a month. Which is super affordable. You think about the things that you spend $20 a month on, or at least I think of what I spend $20 a month on, and then I think about the value I get from this, which is why I've been using it for so long. Okay, off my soapbox again. There is a 60-day trial if you want to set up a trial right now to check it out, and they do have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So the offer that you're seeing here is available until the end of this month, Thursday, June 30th, next week. So please do touch base with me. There's a promo code for the offer for anybody who wants to give Constant Contact a try, so I can provide you with that promo code or help you get set up. And I do want to get to questions if anybody has any. So please feel free to ask your questions. And let me see. Anybody have any questions about growing your list? Anything that you were hoping to learn today that you didn't learn that I can help you with? Chances are, as they say, if you have the question, other people might probably wondering the same thing. So please do enter in the question area if you have a question. And while we're on here, I do have a couple more polls that I'll launch so you can take a look at those. So Leela is asking the frequency of emails, what's a good place to be? And I will tell you that it's highly dependent on the nature of your business, Leela, or Layla, I'm sorry if I'm saying that improperly. So monthly is the most common frequency. Now, as you know, around certain times of the year, especially at Christmas and other holidays, retailers almost send them daily, which gets a little bit annoying. But it can be appropriate at certain times. If you're hosting an event and you're giving people updates about how many tickets are still available, or a new speaker that's been added, then maybe daily updates make sense. But on a general level, I would say either biweekly or monthly is probably the right frequency for you. I hope that helps you, Layla. Barbara's asking, do you have any links to help train staff to ask for emails? I don't have a specific link, Barbara, but I will look on Constant Contact has a fantastic blog, and there may be some list growth blog posts there that talk specifically about how. Beyond that, you could just Google train staff to ask for email addresses or something like that, and you'd probably find a lot of great information there. So Brenda says, I was told that all email addresses that were out there in public on websites, etc., were considered to be given authorization to use them and send content to them by someone that says he knows of the law well. Is this true? Yes, Brenda, it is true. Those addresses fall into the implied consent category, and you can add them to your mailing list, but you have 2 years from the time that you add any implied consent address or contact to your mailing list. You have 2 years to get express consent from them, or you need to remove them from your mailing. Yes, that legal professional is correct, but there's a caveat. What I would say, you're welcome, Brenda, what I would say there is, and I always say this, the golden rule. Would you want somebody adding your address just because it's published on your website? Would you want somebody going to your website and adding your address just because you've made it public? And do you really want people on your mailing list who aren't interested, who haven't indicated an interest in hearing from you? So keep that in mind. Barbara, did I answer your question about the links for helping to train staff? I can certainly look into that for you and send you any information that I come across, or links that I might come across. But Google's a great tool for this. Honestly, if you just Google how to train staff to grow my mailing list, you'll probably come up with tons of great links. I will do that for you, Barbara. We're at 1:02 Eastern. To continue taking questions. I know some people are starting to jump off here, and so we will continue to. I'll continue to take questions for those of you who are interested. I do have a poll here asking you what you find most challenging about email marketing right now, and I'd love to know from your perspective what your challenges are. Confirmation. It's a good idea to send a follow-up email. So we're asking, if you have what's called in process where they opt in and then they get sent an email that they need to click on, is that what you're referring to? Okay, yes, that's what you're referring to. So that's called double opt-in. And actually, double opt-in is considered marketing best practice, but just to be clear, it is not a requirement of either CanSpam or Castle. So you don't need the double opt-in. You don't need people to confirm a second time via email. Now, if you are doing that and you don't get the confirmation, yes, sending a follow-up email saying, thank you for your interest in our mailing list. Please note that in order to add you to our mailing list, we need you to confirm by clicking here. You could create just a template like that you have, and you send it out, once every couple weeks or once a week to anybody that hasn't clicked on that link that they got in your email. Know that there is a setting in Constant Contact that allows you to indicate whether or not you want that process to be included in the subscription process. that second, the double opt-in. You're welcome. So the challenges with email marketing here, finding the time. Time is always a big challenge. I urge you, if email marketing is something that you know works for your business, but you either or don't have the time for it, there are people that can help you with that. I do it. There's people in your area that do it. They do it very efficiently and therefore cost effectively, and they can probably help you even improve your campaigns. So please do keep that in mind as an option. I know as small business people, we feel compelled to wear all the hats and do all that stuff, and it's hard to relinquish control over things, and it's hard to justify the cost of outsourcing. But I'll say with every single thing that I've outsourced to my business, and as reluctant as I've been to do so, when I take the leap, it always frees me up to do more of what I'm in business to do, which is, for me, consulting with clients about marketing, building websites and doing a lot of speaking engagements, which brings more joy to me. And the little amount of money that I spend to get somebody else to, for me, do my books, for example, is so worth it, because I know it's being done right and I don't have to worry about it. Creating content. So 50% of you are saying that creating content is a challenge. So content curation is a big thing. There are lots of tools that you can use to collect content. Sign up for other industry experts' email newsletters, people who are experts in the industry that you're in, and collect pieces of information from those newsletters that would be valuable to your readers. Also, subscribe to blog posts, to blogs, of industry experts, and also just anything that you're reading online as a matter of course through the day. Collect it. I have some content that I put together about curating content, and it's just about using the tools that are available to you to collect that content that you can then turn around and provide a short commentary on, and provide a link to somebody else's blog post. You will still be positioning yourself as the expert in the eyes of your readers, because you're the portal for that information. So don't feel like you always got to be creating new content for people. Share content that you're privy to that's going to make your audience's life easier, either personally and or professionally. So understanding how email marketing fits into your overall marketing scheme. I talked about that at the beginning with integrating email into social media and with your website. Again, your website relies on inbound marketing. So you're using your email newsletter and your social media presence, the various platforms you use to drive traffic to your website for more information about your business, or they can learn about the products you offer, or what have you, the classes that you offer, whatever the case is. But you want to be using your website for people to subscribe to your newsletter. The beauty of email marketing is it's direct marketing. People are asking to hear from you, and there's nothing better than that. Social media doesn't come even remotely close to comparing when you talk about deliverability, to people actually seeing and getting the messages that you're posting versus what you would send out through an email campaign. And you can target your audience. So you can't target your audience on social media. If somebody likes your page, they like your page, and they're going to see the posts they're going to see. With email, you can add them to specific lists so they only get the information that's super relevant to them. So if you're worried about creating a newsletter that's consistent in terms of the content, in terms of regularity, of frequency of mailing, again, if it's a time issue, you want to make sure that you're leveraging other people's skills. You might even look at something like Fiverr.com, Fiv as in Victor, ERR.com. There are people from all over the world who can help you with your email campaigns, who can design a logo for you, who can make a simple video for you for pennies. And if you don't know anybody locally that can help you, try that resource. It's a fantastic resource. Leela is asking, how do you organize all the content that you collect? Great question, Leela. There's a couple things that I do. I have an app that it's a browser extension that I've added to my iPad, my iPhone, and my computer browser, and it's called Pocket. It's spelled exactly how it sounds, and so anytime I'm browsing the internet or any social media channel from any device, and I either don't get time to finish reading it or want to save it so I can share it with my audience, I click the little pocket icon up in the top right of my browser icon, or I right click or whatever the case is to bring up the pocket option. I can tag it to say, share this with audience or for e-newsletter or what have you, and it allows me to store that information. So when I'm ready to send a newsletter out or when I'm ready to schedule more posts on social media, I go to Pocket and I have tons of options there to choose from information that I've curated, that I know that I've reviewed and is suitable for my audience. Another thing that I use is called Feedly. Feedly is what's called an RSS reader. RSS stands for really simple syndication, and all it is like creating your own online newspaper. So subscribe to people's blogs, and you go into Feedly, one login, and you can follow as many different blogs as you want there. And when you find a blog post that you like, you just mark it, bookmark it, and then when you're ready to send an e-newsletter, go back to Feedly, find that blog post, and link to it from your newsletter, or share it, or create a commentary around that topic and then link to it. And that's another great way to curate content that you can then share at a later date. I hope that makes sense for you. So Feedly is Feedly, Feedly. That's the RSS reader, and Pocket is the storage app. I also have a separate folder in my email inbox, or sorry, my email client that's specifically for e-tips. So if I get an e-newsletter delivered to my inbox and I read it and I really like it, then I'll store it in that folder for later reference. Hopefully that makes sense to you, and you can use some of those tools. But there's a ton of tools. If you Google content curation, you'll see tons of articles about tools to use and how to do it and that kind of thing. You're welcome, Leela. If you have more, just following up on the survey, if you have more, if you have questions and you're really concerned with making sure that your emails are compliant with your anti-spam legislation, again, CAN-SPAM in the state, Castle in Canada, I am going to, as I mentioned, be including a couple links for you in the. I'll send you a short series of follow-up emails for all of this information, and you can refer to those links there, and they give you a very simple overview of how to be compliant with your email newsletters. Again, it's not terribly difficult. You just want to make sure that the key is having express permission from people, and really that comes down, as I said, to the golden rule. Not adding people to your list who are not interested or did not give you permission, I think, is really the bottom line. For those of you who are still with us, and there's quite a few of you, I'm just going to open up the last poll here for you to take a look at. So what is it that would help you create regular, effective email campaigns? Select any or all that apply. So live seminars is actually getting the lowest response, which is kind of surprising to me because in the past I've seen a lot of people really enjoy the live one-on-one thing. But downloadable guides, not surprisingly, is getting a higher response rate. And I know a lot of people like to have something beside them that they can't lose track of, that's there, that they can refer to constantly as they're going about, setting up a marketing campaign or setting up a new social media platform or what have you. And while we're waiting for this poll to finish out, we're just about done. For those of you remaining, how many? Just answer in the question area if you like. How many social media platforms do you use, and which ones? Which ones are you using effectively or not effectively? How many are you on, and which one's your favorite for business? Would love to know from you. I will tell you that Facebook is the most popular platform worldwide, and that's not surprising. But Pinterest is actually the fastest growing platform, and it's because of the visual content. Our very nature makes us visual people. 90% of the information that we take in on any given day, on any given time, is visual content versus text. So that's photos, videos, graphics, etc. So that's where things like platforms like Pinterest and Instagram are really, that's where they excel, and that's why they're grabbing the attention of people. Instinct. Everybody loves, we're in the selfie culture right now. I know my daughter is selfie obsessed, and we have daily conversations about trying to keep that under control a little bit. Yeah, so visual platforms are really gaining a lot of traction with people. So Barbara, you said Facebook, that you really like Facebook. Let's see, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn and Twitter are your favorites. Thanks, Brenda. Facebook, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Polyvore. Oh, you're on Polyvore. Leela, are you a garment maker or a retailer? I just introduced Polyvore footwear and accessories. Thank you. That's great. Yeah, I just introduced Polyvore to my daughter. She loves putting outfits together and stuff. So if you haven't checked out Polyvore, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it is a lot of fun, I find. And people curate outfits and put looks together and stuff. It's pretty cool. Good to see the out-of-the-box thinking there. I like that. Carla, not on any yet. I'm trying to get company to share social media options. Carla, I understand your pain. It blows my mind that any companies aren't on social media these days, because every company can use social media, even if it's just LinkedIn, which is uber professional. But listen, if you ever need help with social media, or if you need a consult, or you need somebody in your corner, please reach out to me. I'd love to help you, because we're not going back from social media. It's not going away anytime soon. So I'd be interested to know what industry you're in, Carla, but that's a pretty conservative stance that your company's taking there. As a company, Victor, you have Facebook and Twitter, and you don't use either much at this point. So yeah, I hear this a lot. That's not uncommon. What I would suggest is just jumping in. There's no mistakes, honestly, and the best way to learn how to use it for your business is to look at other progressive businesses in your industry that are using those platforms really well. Look at what they're doing, take what you like, leave what you don't, and run with it. You're not going to make mistakes. You're going to boost engagement. And, it can be, I know that it's daunting to start with, especially if we're kind of not very digitally savvy, but it can be a lot of fun, and it's a learning curve. But, and also if you're a small business, Don't be afraid of engaging younger people who are looking for volunteer hours. I'm actually about to start a brand new initiative locally here, getting young people using the apps that they use socially, and getting them thinking about how they can apply them to business, and maybe even helping local businesses with their social media and online presence. And I think it's a win-win all the way around. Barbara, again, I would say info on getting started using Pinterest. I mean, really, if I'm being flippant about it, I could say just jump on there and do it because it's so much fun and it's highly addictive. 80 to 85% of Pinterest users are women. The top 5 uses of Pinterest are um, health and beauty, so hair, makeup, DIY, arts and crafts, fashion, recipes. So if you're in any of those, and even if you're beyond that, I have a client who I built a website for, and she has a lavender business, and she actually sells lavender plants, but her pins are all around how to use lavender in, after you grow it. So how to enjoy dried lavender, making tea, making aromatic things. So really, you don't have to stretch too far to find an application for Pinterest, but it's another thing that you could Google and easily find inspiration for and directions or help with. Tons of video tutorials on YouTube for that as well, Barbara. Leela's using Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn. Pinterest most effective for your business. Good, good. Leela, what's your business? Or sorry, are you the, oh no, that was Leela Ovas. The other like fireplace retailer, very good. Oh, cool. We just finished our basement, and I used Pinterest endlessly for inspiration. For we kind of did the rustic industrial look, right? So, and we found Napoleon online. Actually, they're the fireplace that we chose for our basement. So that's interesting. I love that, Leela. Good. I'm glad you like Pinterest. Bill, you have constant contact open rates consistently at 40 to 45%, which is really excellent if you're comparing, if you look at the stats for your industry across when you're looking at your reporting. If you've indicated what industry you're in your constant contact profile, you'll be able to see what the industry averages are for opens and click-throughs. 40 to 45% should be really high. Should you be happy with that open rate? Absolutely. Now, that said, it's a very individual thing. As much as I'm encouraging you to look at the industry average, and what Constant Contact does is for every person who indicates their industry, the industry that they're in for all of their customers, they compile all of that and then they give the average open rates for that industry. So that's not everyone in your industry around the world. That's Constant Contact customers in your industry. I don't know what your industry is, Bill. Feel free to share it if you like. But 40 to 45% open rates is quite good. Now, there's always stuff that you can do to improve your open rate. So I would never get complacent about it. Your subject line, you want to make sure your subject line is compelling. So some things that are compelling for subject lines are like top 5 ways to, or a DIY, or a how to do this. So those are compelling. Creating a sense of urgency, so offer ends tomorrow, or those are just a few ideas. Again, if you Google compelling subject lines, you'll come up with tons of information that will help you improve your open rates just by tweaking your subject lines. You can even Google subject line tester or subject line test, and you can enter the subject line that you're planning to use, and it will actually give you a rating, a ranking as far as like a percentage of what your open rate might be, and it will also the tool will suggest you ways that you can tweak your subject line to improve results. You also want to make sure when you're sending your email that your from line is the best one for your business. So are people expecting to hear from you, your personal name, or are they to hear from your business name? Make sure that it's consistent with how you're known online on your website and on your social media platforms, your social media bios. Sorry, Natasha. This is the question part of the seminar. We're all done. Sorry, just wrapping up with some questions here. She wondered if there were any more slides. Barbara, furniture design, excellent. Leela, you're asking about the bounce rate and how that plays a role in email marketing. So bounce rate are basically emails that have tried that Constant Contact or your email marketing provider has tried to deliver, but have bounced back before, have basically been disallowed. They haven't reached the server at the far end, or at the receiver end. So you want to make sure that that you have the correct spelling. There's no typos in your emails. That's a common cause of a bounced email. And you can actually go in Constant Contact, you can actually, and it will show you, it'll give you kind of an answer, a reason for each bounced email. Some of them might be non-existent emails. Some might be suspended because they've tried delivering multiple campaigns to that address and they're constantly bouncing. So sometimes somebody discontinues an email address. Either they've left a business or they've switched from one email provider to another, and they haven't updated their email address with you. So, how you might be able to use that. But any that are consistently, how to improve that. But any that are consistently bouncing, you want to make sure to get them off your email list because they're not helping your overall reporting, your overall stats any, and they're not doing you any good either because they're just always going to bounce. I hope that helps with you. Yeah. Everybody should be looking at your mailing list every so often, reviewing it, seeing what's bouncing, seeing if there are any spam reports. You don't want spam reports, and doing what you can to streamline your list so that only the people who really want to hear from you are on that list. Catherine's on and off with LinkedIn and Facebook, found Facebook useful and yet conflictive, therefore came off of it. Daunting, sifting out replies to family and friends. And that's actually one of the big reasons that the deliverability rate, your posts are seen by so few people, because not only are you competing with other businesses, but you're competing with people as well when you're posting to Facebook. I'm not saying don't use Facebook as a highly effective platform if you're using it properly, but you can't take it lightly. You have to know the right techniques to use to get your posts seen, and that's where you might want to, for some of your posts, not all of your posts, you might want to consider boosting your post, and you can pay like $4, $7, $20 to boost your post if you're promoting an upcoming event, or if it's Christmas time, or what have you. If there's an event or a post that you really want to get seen, you can actually select the segment, your audience segment that you want to see that post. So that's where post boosting, and if you're interested in learning more, again, just Google Facebook, how to boost posts on Facebook, and you'll find out lots more about that, Catherine. I hope that's been helpful to you. But like I said, yeah, I think that, and Catherine, this is Lori, by the way. I'm using Lisa's go-to webinar platform here, but it's Lori Nechtel. Anyway, I think it's important. Facebook is still the most popular platform worldwide, and it's important for a lot of businesses to be there, as long as you know your audience is there and you know that it's going to help you reach your goals and objectives. And if that's the case, then take advantage of any local or online training that's available to you, paid or free, to learn how to really leverage Facebook for the powerful tool that it can be. The same goes for LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube, Twitter, what have you. They all work. You just want to figure out where your customers are and then learn the skills you need to learn to use those platforms appropriately and or outsource to somebody who knows what the heck they're doing. I'm glad you were able to join us as well, Catherine. Thank you so much. Any other questions before we call it a day today? It's 1:30 Eastern Time. I'm glad that you've been able to stick around and get some additional answers to your questions. I do find that a lot of times in webinars and seminars that the Q&A portion is definitely the most beneficial as it addresses specific issues for you. And I really do hope that investing this time today will allow you to go back to business and apply these to your business to improve the results you're getting with email marketing and or re-energize if that's what you need in Catherine's case. So thank you so much for joining me today. Do watch for emails coming through from Lori at emotivatemarketing.com. That's me. And I'll be forwarding the slide deck as well as some additional resources for you and anybody who's not a constant contact customer or the offer that is available for existing constant contact customers. Thanks again for joining us, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.